What's good, y'all? What's the numbers TV? It's your boy Paul Rowe. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already, and like a video if you appreciate the content that Paul Rowe What's the Numbers I providing. Today we back with another profile piece. This was on Davion Red Bull Gregory out of Inglewood, California, a member of the Inglewood family Bloods that was shot and killed at a party in Carson, California. We're going to take a deeper look into who was charged with his murder and what the outcome of the trial was when it was all said and done. First, we're going to take a look at the details that the news reported on the shooting, which what they said basically was a man was killed and two others hurt in a shooting that broke out in an adult-themed pajama party in Carson Saturday. The shooting occurred after 11:30 p.m. Saturday in the driveway of a commercial warehouse. 3 people were shot and paramedics arrived within 3 minutes. One man later identified as 24-year-old Davion Gregory was rushed to a nearby hospital where he was pronounced dead. 2 other men were also taken to the hospital, but their conditions weren't immediately released. It wasn't clear if the shooting was targeted or random. So those are the first reports coming out of the shooting. We come to find out that Davion Gregory is Red Bull. How I'm familiar with Red Bull is just a few weeks prior to that, I seen an interview on Street Gangs. It was on YouTube, Street Gangs channel, and he's interviewing Munchie B. So I already knew who Munchie B was from a video back in the day that I think it was Hard in the Paint remix that he did with a bunch of other Blood members. They was just rapping, putting on. So I already knew who Munchie B was. There was a lot of rumors that he put in a lot of work, so he had a little name already. So now a few years later, I see an interview with Munchie B. He basically telling like what he's been through since then. Since that, he got locked up, he got shot and all that. And during his interview, he got somebody with him. Now the guy introduced himself as Red Bull. He got Red Bull and another guy, I think Baby Dot or whatever. But they don't talk too much. Red Bull don't talk too much, but he introduced himself. So that's how I came to know who Red Bull was. So fast forward a few weeks later, I'm not sure if I seen it on Instagram or I seen it when Alonzo posted it on his page. He got like a little website that Red Bull was shot at a party in Carson, basically like a pajama party. So that's all I really hear about it from there. They say Red Bull died. Like now I just watched one of his things on YouTube. I just seen who he was. A few weeks later he gets killed, right? So now that's pretty much all I heard. I didn't really know too much at the time, but come to find out, a little while later, the case started really getting a lot of different details started coming out, and one of them had to do with Drakeo, the ruler, and the Stink Team. So now the cops don't got too much to go on the next day. What they do got is a video that shows a black Benz truck and a red coupe pull up right before the shooting. The shooting itself is not on camera. They also know the type of guns that was used, which was a 40 Glock and a 38 revolver. And they also got the 2 victims that was also shot with Red Bull at the same time and survived. So eventually they make their way to go talk to the 2 victims. And during this time they're also hearing rumors on like rumblings on wiretaps that Drakeo, the ruler, and Stink Team has something to do with it. So when they get to finally go talk to the victim, he tells them that he knew Red Bull from back in the day. It's the first time running into each other in a long time, and eventually, and they was walking towards the party to get in when eventually some bullets just started coming out of nowhere. Now, one last thing he does tell him is that he remembers a light-skinned kid with braids or dreads in the parking lot. So with those 4 things, the cops start going what they do nowadays. They go on the internet, they go on social media, they go on Google, they go on Instagram, YouTube. So as they're watching one of Drakeo's videos, they see him driving a black Benz truck. Also in the video, they see 2 Stink Team members, one with a 38 revolver tucked in his waistband, the other with a 40 caliber pointed at the camera. And at the end of the video, they see a light-skinned kid with braids. So with those 4 different things, they end up surveilling Drakeo to eventually get a warrant and arresting him. Right? Now when they arrest him, they find him in the parking lot of his building. So they eventually get a warrant for his apartment. They go into the apartment, there's a bunch of Stink Team members in there and a bunch of guns. So they arrest everybody that was in there. Now this is where the police start doing the funny business. They got all the Stink Team members in jail that they had at the apartment. They got Drakeo in jail. They start putting them in cells with wired up informants to try to get try to get a story out of them without them knowing, basically, have them talk to them. So it ends up working because one of the members by the name of Too Shitty ends up telling one of the cell informants that I didn't do the shooting. It was a kid by the name of AB from 40s that did it. Go by the name of Arlington Blue, real name Jaden Boyd. So, police, they got the information on audio. They go, they arrest him. Now, he's a 17-year-old kid from 40s, you know what I'm saying? He's a gangbanger. So he doesn't want to be in jail. He doesn't want to be in jail for the rest of his life. He's only 17 years old. So the cops do the same trick with him, put him in the cell with an OG, acting like an OG who's also a snitch, also an informant that got a wire to try to get a confession out of him. Now, him himself also, he doesn't tell the detective and all that. He ends up telling he ends up telling the jailhouse informant about what happened, basically saying that he had a beef with, it was on site, Red Bulls from Bloods. They been had an ongoing beef, so when he seen him, it was basically shoot on sight, which is what he did. Now, with that confession, you would think that would be the end of the case sealed, but for some reason, the detective still wanted to go after Drakeo and the stink team. So now he's focusing on the light-skinned kid with the dreads in the video. He wants to bring him in for questioning and all that. So, being that he got an open warrant on all stink team's social medias, he goes and finds a video of, which is the kid's name is Solo, that with the dreads. He finds a video of him shooting a gun into the ceiling. Now, he being a felon, not supposed to have no guns in possession, he ends up going to find the ceiling that he was shot in, pulls the bullet out of the ceiling, and see that it matches up to the 38 that was shot that killed Red Bull, one of the guns that was used to kill Red Bull. So, they bring Solo in, and they threaten him, basically telling these people see him with the gun, witnesses got him with the gun on the scene. You're going to get 3 strikes. Even if we don't get you for the murder, we might charge you for the murder. We could just charge you for the shooting. You know how you got to get the enhancements and all that. So he don't want to do no 15 years in jail. He thinks about it for a little while, for like 30, 40 minutes. He doesn't crack. He's staying strong. They put him back in the cell till eventually he requests to meet with the detectives again and cops a plea telling everything. Now, the story from him, which is the only whole story we got, we don't know if it's real or not. He's a snitch. He could be lying. But the story that he says basically that they was all at Drakeo's house, apartment and all that, chilling. When Drakeo looks at Instagram and sees a picture for a flyer for a party, they look at the picture, they end up deciding they're going to go. Now they calling all around, getting the homies to pull up. They got about 3-4 caravans deep, so they ride out to the party. Now what he's saying is basically when they get to the party, they're parking, they're setting up with a parking and all that, everybody's parking together. When somebody comes back to the window, because he's riding with Drakeo, somebody comes to the window and tell him that the families is in there. So supposedly he said Drakeo say, yo, let's get out of here. So when a group is walking by, now in that group is Red Bull. Supposedly Red Bull and the 17-year-old AB, Jaden Boy, see each other and the bullets just start flying. He says that him and Drakeo duck, but after he says who he says Kells runs over and says basically I emptied the clip on him. Now they get up out of there, they all scatter, they go back to Drakeo's apartment, they go to sleep. So when they wake up later at night in the morning, like 3 in the morning, and they find out that Red Bull died. Now, that's where we at as far as like they got everybody. They still trying to get Drakeo. They charged, so they end up charging Drakeo with the murder still. So moving forward, Drakeo charged with the murder. Boyd is they separated his case, but he's charged with the murder. Kells is on the case with Drakeo, and another one of the stink team members that's not charged with the murder. So they end up going to trial, and Drakeo beats the trial. He beats the murder. He only gets convicted for possession of a gun, and he gets a hung jury on 2 other charges. I think shooting out a window and another type of possession or something. I'm not sure it's the second one, but I know he gets 2 hung juries. So basically he's supposed to be getting out of jail in a week, but that doesn't happen because the DA decides to refile the charges and go and try him again. Now, what we do know as far as the other ones is Kells, I looked him up. He got life without parole. He got convicted for the murder and got life without parole. Solo, he snitched. He got relocated out of the state and he came back and all that. But right now he's out of the state supposedly. But he's a rat. He snitched. Now, Javon Boyd, I can't find him on the internet or nothing as far as him locked up. I don't know if he ended up snitching, being that they had a confession from him already. But they severed his case and then he pleaded the 5th, so he couldn't testify against them. So I don't know how that working out. I don't know if he's considered a snitch. What happened? Being that they like weaseled the confession out of him, I don't know exactly, but he's not showing up in the inmate lookup. So I had to get this little story out there because this is a crazy story. Because Red Bull, and then I wasn't even up on the whole Drakeo and all that. So when I started reading up and I seen the 2, I said, let me try to report this as best as I can. It's going to be a little tough being there's so much different things going on with this case. But I try to give it to you the best I can, man. But yo, this What's the Numbers TV. I know this one's a little long, but if you're interested, just listen, break it down, stop, read the articles and all that. So y'all can put it all together yourself. You know how we do at What's the Numbers TV, man. What's the Numbers TV? It's your boy Polo. But other than that, man, I'll be back before you know it, man. I'm out of here. Peace.